What is the best way to improve on perfection? Apple is doing so with the brand new M2 MacBook Air, which is unveiled at WWDC 2022. Apple product design changes are so rare that the M1 MacBook Air is nearly the same size and shape as the first one released in 2008. The bezels have shrunk, the chassis has thinned, and ports have been removed, but the tapered casing remains unmistakable. That will all change in 2022 when the new MacBook Air will be equipped with an M2 processor. Apple will release several updates to its most popular laptop in order to usher it into the next decade of design and functionality. The M1 processor enabled a similar change to the 24-inch iMac in 2021. The MacBook Air was one of the first Macs to receive the M1 processor as part of Apple's Silicon transition. Apple, on the other hand, did not introduce a redesign to focus on processing capabilities. For more than a decade, the MacBook Air form factor has been the ultimate ultra-portable laptop, inspiring a slew of imitators and igniting the ultrabook laptop craze. It was light and powerful, pushing the boundaries of what people thought could be accomplished in such a small package. But in terms of design, the MacBook Air hasn't changed much since Steve Jobs first removed its super slim frame from a manila envelope at Macworld in 2008. What impressed me in 2008 is now the norm, even among lesser-known manufacturers. However, fast forward to WWDC 2022, and Apple has finally decided to fully update the MacBook Air line. It not only has the newly unveiled M2 chipset, but it also has a revised but still super slim form factor and a variety of new colors. Is the new MacBook Air capable of wowing the crowds once more? At Apple Park, we were holding the M2 MacBook Air. Here are our initial thoughts before we dive into our full 2022 MacBook Air review. Design. Do you require a lightweight powerhouse? The M2 MacBook Air has a new chassis design, but it's still as light and sleek as ever, with Apple sticking with the slimline stylings that have made the line so popular in the past. The tapered shell that gave previous generations of the Air their razor-sharp profiles has been replaced by a flatter design that is more in line with the MacBook Pro lineup. It is only 11.3 millimeters thick and weighs 2.7 pounds, making it slightly lighter than the most recent model. You'll be able to sling this thing in your rucksack and forget it's there, and balance it easily with one hand. As previously leaked, there are a few more color options available, but not quite the iMac Rainbow that many had hoped for. While there are no greens, yellows, or lilacs as previously suggested, there are silver, space, gray, midnight, and starlight colors to choose from. And while there are fewer options than expected, they're very appealing in person. The starlight option has a slight, almost iridescent quality as it moves in the light, while the midnight is as close to a black laptop as Apple is likely to make. One of the most welcome features in the new 2022 MacBook Air design is its return. MagSafe fans will be relieved to learn that the snap-on, snap-off charging method has made its long-awaited return, which means that the two onboard Thunderbolt ports are now free for accessory use only. The MagSafe charging cord will also be color-matched to the colorway of your MacBook Air. Those who want to listen to or create music on the M2 MacBook Air will appreciate the inclusion of a 3.5mm headphone jack with support for high-impedance headphones, which is useful for all that high-resolution Apple Music streaming. When you look at the screen, you'll notice a 13.6-inch 2560 by 1664 liquid retina display. The premium mini LED display was always a long shot, but it didn't make the cut this time. Unsurprising, given the price impact it would have had on what remains essentially Apple's entry-level portable computing device. With 500 nits of brightness and thinner borders than previous generations, camera notch notwithstanding, the new MacBook Air with M2 chip appears to have more screen real estate than previous models. It's beautifully colorful, now supporting up to 1 billion different colors, and bright enough to be legible even in the harsh Apple Park showroom lighting. There's also a 1080p FaceTime webcam embedded on top, which we're hoping will provide better clarity than the studio displays. Apple appears to be responding to fan criticism by hitting the keyboard again. There's plenty of travel above the large Force Touch trackpad, and the keys are satisfyingly clicky. There's also a full height set of function row keys, as well as a handy Touch ID sensor in the top right for password-free login and payment authentication. 4 speakers capable of Dolby Atmos spatial audio playback are also located between the keys and the screen, though we have yet to hear them in action. Keep an eye out for additional information. Also, remember to subscribe and enable notifications if you want to receive new updates. M2 chip and internal specifications. The M2 chip, however, is arguably the most exciting aspect of the new MacBook Air for 2022. Apple's second-generation bespoke silicon sounds like a beast. Not quite as powerful as the first-generation M1 Max and M1 Pro revisions, but not far off. Apple claims that by using a new 5mm manufacturing process and packing in 20 billion transistors, the M2 has an 8% faster CPU, a 35% more powerful GPU, and a 40% faster neural engine than the M1. This increased transistor count also enables a memory controller to deliver 100 GB per second of unified memory bandwidth, a 50% increase over the M1. The M2 is divided into 2 parts, an 8-core CPU for high performance for efficiency, with a larger cache, and an 8 or 10-core GPU. When compared to the M1, the 8-core GPU option provides 18% better graphics performance versus power, while the 10-core GPU option doubles that. This is more than capable of running high-end games such as the soon-to-be-released Resident Evil Village, which was shown off at the WWDC 2022, and multiple high-resolution video streams at resolutions up to 8K. Power efficiency is also excellent, with up to 18 hours of video playback and 15 hours of wireless web browsing per charge on the Apple TV app. Fast charging with a compatible charger is now supported over a 67-watt USB-C plug, allowing you to reach 50% capacity in just 30 minutes. In terms of configuration, you'll be able to upgrade the standard 8-core GPU to a 10-core GPU. Choose between 8 gigs, 16 gigs, or 24 gigs of RAM, and a 256 gig, 512 gig, 1 terabyte, or 2 terabyte SSD. Cost and availability. The 2022 M2 MacBook Air will be available in Apple stores beginning next month, with prices starting at $1,119. You can also get a $100 discount for education pricing. That makes it slightly more expensive than the still selling M1 MacBook Air, which will remain available for $999. A new design and generation of chipset, on the other hand, were never going to be cheap. It also means that the MacBook Air is now priced in line with the entry-level 13-inch MacBook Pro, forcing prospective buyers to decide whether ultra portability or additional ports are the most important features on their laptop shopping list. Hands-on evaluation. An early verdict. The inclusion of the new M2 chipset would have been sufficient to entice those drawn to the MacBook Air's slim frame. However, a new set of colorful design options and a reimagined chassis will make those considering an entry-level MacBook Pro think twice before parting with their money. We'll need more time to put the M2 through its paces and to see if the new designs is as reliable as travel companion as the previous MacBook Air was. But given that the MacBook Air is supposed to be Apple's entry-level laptop, it's difficult to imagine a more impressive first look, even if the price increase makes it a little more difficult to afford. What are your thoughts? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. That's all we have for now. Thank you for taking the time to review this. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Take care until next time.